Since the last 2 years, cybersecurity has definitely become a big issue. During this time, we've actually had several ransomware cases where hospitals' network system and connected network devices were down, and they could not continue their emergency care. And it is an international problem as well. So cybersecurity isn't just about affecting individual devices, but affecting the hospital as a whole. My daily work involves auditing IT systems. They could be systems from a variety of areas such as cars, IT networks, and even medical devices. Medical devices because I studied medicine for a few semesters and thus developed an affinity for this technology. That brought me to switching over to studying medical information technology, and today I can bring both worlds together and use it in my profession. At the moment, we can say that the healthcare system is indeed becoming a target. Take, for example, the United States, where patient data are far more valuable as compared to countries like Germany. In Germany, you can do relatively very little with patient data. Perhaps blackmail the person or hospital from whom you've hacked this data. In the USA, however, an attacker has the advantage of actually being able to sell a patient file for a reward. This way, the one who buys it on the black market would be able to obtain services by committing fraud. There is a definite need today for hospitals to get help and support in the area of IT security. Overall, I would say from our work experience in hospitals that their security levels are quite low.
Ist so, dass da der Sicherheitsstatus eher niedrig ist.
For hospitals, their worst-case scenario would be if a patient were to be harmed. On a large scale, this hasn't happened as of yet. Nonetheless, when we look at the ransomware waves that have hit in the last 2 years, it demonstrated that hospitals were unable to maintain their patient care status. And this, of course, is a threat to patients. Specific targeted attacks on hospital devices where they've been deliberately manipulated are not known of, at least not publicly. But I would say that they would represent a potential problem.
Nicht bekannt, die sind öffentlich zumindest nicht bekannt, stellen aber durchaus auch ein potenzielles Problem dar.
During one of our system inspections, as we were auditing the hospital's infrastructure, which includes all of their medical equipment, we were able to have full access to one of their anesthesia devices via the network. We were actually able to switch off the device during ventilation and thus disabling the therapy completely. As soon as you enter a hospital, it's quite clear that the main ways to infiltrate are the most common. That is, for example, a contaminated USB stick found on the parking lot ground or brought from home, malware infections via clicking on links or emails. These are all typical methods used which the hospital needs to deal with. Nowadays, medical machines also play a critical role due to the fact that they are frequently linked to the hospital network, in some cases even be exposed to the internet and thus more exposed to cybersecurity vulnerabilities, for example. Medical manufacturers have thus far quite a varied focus when it comes to IT security. You have a few manufacturers who invest a lot and do a lot when it comes to facing this topic. And unfortunately, you also have many manufacturers who do relatively little about the subject.
Bezüglich dem Thema relativ wenig tun.
In order to deal with the topic of IT security in a sustainable way from the manufacturer's side, they need to establish decisive processes within their company to make sure that they approach it proactively. Either they are set up well and have the knowledge, or they need to build it up or purchase it externally in order to ensure an adequate security level. And from this adequate level, manufacturers can take further steps and create external interfaces to interact with the IT security community, for example.
Auf dem Niveau kann man dann weitergehen und dann auch externe Schnittstellen schaffen, um zum Beispiel mit der IT-Security-Community zu interagieren. Wenn ich selbst in einem
If I myself personally was lying in hospital with an actual medical problem, my first thoughts, of course, would be about my physical well-being. And then my instinct would kick in and I'd be interested in what the devices are like, how they're communicating over the network, and what would be potentially possible for an attacker to do. Despite my own thoughts, though, I would advise every patient not to think too much on these thoughts, but to take care of their health with the best possible methods and best possible medical equipment.
Den besten Methoden und den besten Geräten auch entsprechend wiederhergestellt wird.